Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of Commando Comics issue number 2965, Duggan. The story follows a British soldier called Harry Duggan, whose nickname is Deadeye because he's a crack shot, in his dealings with a cowardly officer called Peters. The story opens with Harry, who is fighting with his platoon on the outskirts of Dunkirk, defending it from the advancing Germans to allow the troops on the beaches to get away. The platoon has been fighting quite well, and Harry has been able to put his sharpshooter skills to some effect by taking out the wheels on the trucks of a German advance, which has slowed them down. However, the Germans eventually get reinforcements and they launch a all-out assault on the platoon's position, which causes the platoon's commander, Lieutenant Peters, to order a retreat. Harry initially thinks that Peters is alright because he was the one who ordered Harry to take out the tyres on the trucks. But then in the retreat, Peters panics and just flees off the battlefield and leaves the platoon on its own. And so Harry is forced to take command. He gets the men out across the field into an orchard, and then he leads them to Dunkirk and safety. They get to the beach of Dunkirk and wait for the small boats to turn up. To take them back to England. They do get one does get there, and Harry's men get aboard. But as they're getting aboard the boat, a German dive bomber is about to attack the boat, and so Harry takes a shot at the engine, hoping he can knock it out or get this sort of pilot to move away from them. He successfully hits the engine, and the plane crashes. This saves the boat and his men, but the shock of the explosion knocks Harry against the hull of the boat, and he knocks him out. Fortunately, his men pull him aboard and they get safely back to England. Back in England at the regimental depot, Harry runs into Peters, who has now been promoted to major, and they have a sort of confrontation where Harry wants to hit Peters but doesn't, because he knows it will get him a court-martial. However, he does shove Peters to the ground and makes it clear what he thinks of him. Peters doesn't report this to anybody because he wants to keep his story about him being knocked out intact and not bring up some doubts about his possible cowardice. Anyway, the story moves forward where Harry's regiment has been posted to North Africa, and Harry has been seconded to a behind the enemy lines unit led by a good officer called Paul Thomas. The unit attacks a supply dump behind German lines, and then they start making their way back to British lines. However, they've got to get through something called the Backer Pass. There's a pass that they need to also blow up, called the Backer Pass. Now, Harry and Thomas think it's been blown. However, as they approach it, because Germans are pursuing them, they notice it hasn't, and they know if the Germans get through it, that's going to allow the Germans to get behind British lines. And so they advance to they drive frantically. I should say the patrol is in Chevrolet trucks, and they're driving frantically towards the pass. One of the truck gets blown up, and then the truck that Harry and Thomas are on gets incapacitated. However, Harry suggests that he should go up to the high ground, and then he should shoot the dynamite to set it off. Thomas agrees. Harry gets up there, and the rest of the unit join him. And Harry waits until the Germans get into the pass, and then he shoots the dynamite. It explodes and buries the Germans. At this point, Harry and the rest of the unit start walking their way back to British lines, and they do make it. And it turns out that the unit that they've reached is Harry's old regiment. And so they are taken to see the new commanding officer, who it turns out is Peters, and who gives them the bollocking, because apparently the pass was meant to be kept open to allow the Germans to come through, so that the British could wipe out this the Germans who were coming through were an armoured division, so the British were hoping to wipe it out and then use the pass to advance through and attack the German lines in a full attack that was meant to take place the day that Harry and Thomas and the rest of the unit arrived at his old regiment. Harry and Thomas explained they didn't know this, and they weren't informed when they went on the mission. Peter sort of ignores them and decides he's going to try and ignores them, sort of criticises them, and this sort of angers Harry to the point where he actually punches Peters, and this gives Peters the chance to lock Harry up, and then he informs sort of divisional HQ about the matter in the hope that Harry and Thomas will both get the blame for it. However, it turns out that divisional headquarters know about the mission, and they also know that Harry and Thomas weren't informed about the need for the pass to stay open, and so they're exonerated. However, Peters, whilst he's disgruntled with this, discovers another way that he can get his revenge on Harry. Headquarters want a German general who is in a villa on the coast to be assassinated, and so he picks Harry, Thomas, and the rest of what remains of their unit to do the job. Harry and Thomas can immediately see this is going to be a suicide attempt. This is a suicide mission, but they can't see any alternative, and so they agree they accept the orders. However, just as they're about to leave, the Germans launch an attack on the regimental lines, and Harry, Thomas and the unit decide to carry out on the mission, but they're going to take Peters, who is panicking and trying to escape, with them, as sort of revenge against him, because they know it's a suicide mission. So if they're going to die, he's going to die with them. So Harry and the others, along with the sort of very disgruntled and happy Peters, are able to get through the German lines, get to the coast. And Harry, when they get there, decides he's not going to kill the German general, he's going to capture him. So Harry, using his sharpshooter skills, shoots the two sentries outside as Thomas leads the rest of the unit into the villa. And then some more Germans turn up. Harry kills them as he goes to the villa, and then the unit starts to retreat. During the retreat, they are followed by Germans who want the German general, and more importantly, the German general's attaché case. The German general has been watches Harry and Thomas and also Peters, and he comes to the view that Peters isn't up to much, but Harry is a good soldier. And then when it becomes apparent to the unit that the general's attaché case is what the Germans want, Peters tries to throw it out, but Harry punches him and takes the case off him. And at this point, the German general decides that Peters is a complete coward and Harry is a really good soldier. The unit is able to get back to British lines, and they are met by a British general who congratulates them, and then Harry punches Peters as Peters attempts to take credit for the mission. The general goes to have Harry arrested, but then the German general intervenes and points out and explains that Peters is a coward, at which point Peters is arrested, and Harry is commended for his actions by the British general, and then the German general salutes Harry and shakes hands with him, telling him he's a great soldier. And that's where the story ends. I should say this isn't the first time I've read this. In fact, this story was the first Commando comic I ever read as a child. It would have been 1997. About 1997. I was 6 years old, and it was when I was on holiday in it was North Wales with my dad, and I bought this on a sort of spinning rack in a corner shop, and I remember reading it, enjoying it then, and I really enjoyed it now. It is very much in the Commando style, so there's obviously no swearing, because for those who don't know, these are for schoolboys and teenage boys. so they're very much in the style of, if any of you have ever seen a 1950s British war film, this is essentially that. And that's not a criticism, by the way. I'm a great fan of both these comics and 1950s British war films, and so I really enjoyed this. It was really a throwback to that era, and I as I say, I enjoy those films, and I enjoyed the Commando comics. One thing I had noticed about this, which I hadn't remembered, which is that the cover is a bit unusual. If anybody who's watching this is sort of familiar with Commando comics, it seems to, if I'm not sure if this is true for you, but this seems to me a lot more vague, if you understand what I mean, in terms of the lines. Whilst you can see the rifle is sort of clear, his face is not clear, and the chap there is not clear. It seems a bit out of focus, and what I mean by that is, if I compare this one with, though this is in black and white, a cover from earlier on, so from an earlier era of Commando. So this will be it. So if I just hold that, as you can see, that RAF chap's face is a lot more clearer than it was than Duggan is, and it seems that in this era, which would have been the 90s, that sort of slightly out of focus version sort of covers seem to be in vogue because this on the front of this this anthology, it's similar, if you know what I mean, in terms of the cover. Same sort of thing. If I hold that there, and then So I thought that was interesting. I should say that I am actually going to be, during the course of this month and next month, reviewing a story from each one of the stories, from, the entirety of this. Sorry, there are. Let's just see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, 12 stories. So you'll get 12 videos out of that. As I say, I really enjoyed this as a reread. I should say I haven't read any stories in that one in the omnibus, so to be interested to see what they're like. But with that, BookTube, I'll say goodbye.